Good afternoon, if everything's working okay. Hope you can see and hear me. So if you can, just say a quick hello in the chat here, and that'll be great. Just also let me know how long the delay is. Might be just a short one. So if you're up and about, say a quick hello, and then we can get up and going. So while I'm waiting for that, just going to pick my leagues in football 24. So we can pick our own leagues. We need to know when goals come in and red cards come in. And this is a great audio method of getting the goals. And you can choose your leagues, of course. So we can just cut all the noise on a busy Saturday. That's the Czech 1 League and the Danish Super League. So hi there. Hi everyone. Nice to see you. So obviously everything's going okay. So I'll just finish Football 24. Premier League, of course. And you saw the new manager syndrome for Tottenham earlier on. Very, very difficult, isn't it, to trust early season, particularly new managers. And they didn't even need Richarlison's goals today either. French League 1, French League 2, German Bundesliga just kicking off. Bundesliga 2. This way we can home in on the leagues of interest. We don't have to worry about those illiquid leagues and errant scorelines coming in. Serie A is with us, as well as the German Bundesliga today. Spain, England, France, all with us at last. I might as well, just for old time's sake, put the Norwegians up. And as we move down, the Polish Ekstraklasa, just the one league in case it's a familiar name. Primera Liga, Secunda, and the Romanian 1 League. Got some familiars there. Scottish Premiership, I won't go anywhere below that because it's just lacking liquidity, which is a pity because some of these leagues are quite readable, but you can see it time and again, the lower tiers. Spanish Primera, Spanish Secunda, we can get rid of the Super Retin today. Don't need to worry about that. Swiss Super League might have some familiar names. Turkish Super League as well. No need to go to the 1 League just yet. So you click there and we get an audio alert now when a goal has come in one of our leagues of interest. So it will sound either like that or like that, mostly like that. And that will tell us about red cards as well. You can see the importance of the change with a red card, and in Estek Twy got the goal before half time. So pity with Leicester and Charlton. If you saw the in-play stats, you'd have agreed with me. And if you took insurance out, you'd have been okay with that 0-1. Still ropey grounds for Leicester. Very, very tight matches. They cannot let anything slip up in that league, the Championship. So tough. Ilves and Inter, arguably for me, a derby-style match, and you're getting the kind of a result you expect. But those of you who fancy a play, you've seen the dominance throughout, particularly momentum-wise from FC Inter. Do have goals in them regularly, if we can get the form up without looking. No, we can't, so we'll have to go to Soccer Stats, have a quick look at FC Inter. To show you where these two are as well in the league, they're probably going to be top 3, top 4. Ilves and Inter, they're the two sides who have caught the eye this season. Well, there's Inter there and Ilves there, top 3, as I suggested. Just the one defeat for Inter Turku, so that puts that 0-1 into perspective, doesn't it? They are away from home. Do you fancy it? It's 69 minutes in. Insurance is going to be quite high. So you might want to go, so to speak, naked without any insurance. Back, Inter, lay Ilves. Up to you. And we've got goals coming in, as you can hear that, in a match of interest. Bayer Leverkusen starting where they left off. I thought Den Haag was going to switch on the old snooze button, but has he picked up the Alonso blueprint? Two teams I mentioned in the research, goals before half-time. Not normally as efficient as this, though, but watch out throughout this season if we don't get this awful Den Haag of Manchester United. And if Bayer Leverkusen don't suffer with the absence of Wirtz, and I think it was Frimpong, was it? Or Fromsong, or Frimsong. And the mighty Hoff, as you know, they're going to be looking over their shoulders at relegation again this season, which is ample. They're going to have some great trading opportunities, particularly cocking it up. Regulars will know very well. Hi, Michael. Yeah, indeed. Top up that 10 tan, Michael. Nice to see you here from Portugal. So we might have the inside track. So let's have a first look at the in-play stats. Bayer Leverkusen straight out of the blocks. At 1.7, lukewarm favourite because, again, we've got that new manager syndrome. It could play for them, it could play against them. Eintracht Frankfurt have come straight out of the blocks 6 minutes in, 3 shots off 2 corners. But I tend to see this a lot. Early enthusiasm, first home match of the season. You get all enthused, you go into the half-time market, and it goes zoom all the way back down. So we'll just watch on that one. These are 2.5 goal leagues, by the way, the Bundesliga. If we can get the 2024-2025 stats up, then, well, we might not be able to. I think this is just for this year. If we had last year's, it would show you that the Bundesliga was one of the strongest leagues. Maybe it's got a leftover from last year. No, it hasn't. No. Bundesliga 2 is edging up to 2.74 goal average per match. So you see the potential in Germany for neutral plays. I think we had on the opening day a number of 0-0s just before halftime, and they started to topple. So watch out for those. But opening day, team changes, new managers in, Bayer Leverkusen, for example. Teams with potential last season, can they continue that this season? 1.14 Bandermeersport, just as an exercise, really. We're expecting goals before half-time with them. Highly likely to be nothing available in the half-time markets. You would go 2.5, 5.3, which is not bad after 8 minutes, because 1.14 shots on their own should get a couple of goals. 1.5, 2.22, and 0.5, only 1.27. So that looks a nice bit of value if they continue and play like 1.14 shots. You can see them straight out of the blocks. But again, are they going to maintain that pressure? If you think so, you think they're going to score early, don't forget these first half goals markets. 1.5 and 2.5. They are very useful for these short odds, just to make these odds a little more bearable. So Ilves and Inter. Let's have a look at the 5-minute stats. This is something new. I like these 5-minute stats because this tells you a story. Concerted pressure, but then it's just gone off the boil a little in the last 5 and the last 10. So just makes you a little lukewarm and maybe tempt you to delay a little further. We're going to have a look as well at the new stats that are available here, particularly for the Elite League, so we can perhaps have a look at that match which has just been played in the Premier League. There are some really interesting new stats. If we can open this up. No, they closed it already. No, I don't want to go to the Challenger Pro League. So let's go back. I'll be alerted if there's a goal, so don't worry. We've got that auditory alert available. So let's have a look at the match again. And have a look at the stats, because there are some new stats added this season. And if you can find a use for them, they can either act as confidence boosters or otherwise. So Tottenham are away from home. 4 goalkeeper saves they had to make compared to 3 goals on target faced. So if you get used to this stat, if you're able to start reading it, this seems to add up to 2, but then this one doesn't. So I like these goalkeeping save stats. I also like the clearance stats. Errors leading to a shot as well can be an important stat, particularly if it's an error leading to a goal, because there might be one of those, like the penalty, etc., an undeserved 0-2 lead. So that could tempt you in with a little more confidence. And as we move up, touches inside the opposition box I like as well, 33 to 26. So very even Steven there. You want to ideally see one side dominating the others, as they did with corner kicks and shots inside the box as well. Only 6. That tells a story, doesn't it? So however many shots you've got, or touches, 33 touches inside the box, but only 6 shots inside the box. So a very good defensive display, you'd argue, from Spuds, and they actually bossed the shots inside the box. You should see an improved second half from City. I'm not sure how often this is updated. You might have to do a refresh like this if you want to use these XG stats. Like I say, I use them to just look to see how often they've been in the danger areas, which is the box and the goalkeeping saves. So it's just something additional for this season to add to your watch list. So while things are a little quiet, you can see Bandemirspor still going. While things are a little quiet, we can just get rid of that. You can see there, nothing going on as yet. 12 minutes in, start of the new season. Maybe if it gets to 30 minutes and we've got 4 0-0s, you might want to start laying that draw, laying the 0-0 in the half-time score market. Hope 1 or 2 of them come in, because it's not the usual, but of course, new managers and new everything. So we're just waiting, and we'll have the 3 o'clock. So what I'm going to do is go off here and start collecting odds on favourites, particularly in these lower tiers. We want to focus in straight away on odds on favourites. So that's what I like to do at Soccer 24 in these lesser leagues. Then you can build yourself up an odds on favourites list, which will go into the My Games. And then you'll only get alerts when a goal has come in an odds on favourite match, which is very useful for generating trading angles. For example, here in Belgium, you can see not much expected there today. So we'll work our way down. Dinamo Zagreb and Slaven Belupo odds on at home as well. I like that. Paulsen odds on. Slavia Prague odds on. A lot expected of these two. We noted this lot had to win their last match because it was such a tight league last season. They can't afford to drop points in 2 consecutive matches. Copenhagen, 2 goals heroes, or both teams to score huge goal tallies in Odense matches. Copenhagen, if they shuffle the pack today, they're in trouble. They lost 2-3 the last time. They rested most of the first team in the first half. They lost 2-3. So watch out. They've got European commitments. 1.9 favourite here. 1.62 doing the job. That's what we expect. And doing the job as well. That's what we expect. But this is a great way to generate trading angles for you. Not quite doing the job, but 0-2 it seemed was the ideal entry point there. Or not at all if you're going to be disciplined. New manager syndrome. Of course, this might not be the last surprise we see from Frank and co. Bournemouth odds on at home against Wolves. So that just gives us a slant there. Brentford and Aston Villa I just starred because Aston Villa have had that 2-goal habit away from home under Unai Emery, with a particular slant on European first and second legs. That's probably where he's drilling that in. Very, very effective last season with that 2-goal habit away. That's why I've got that starred. Burnley and Sunderland, I've got that starred because it's a local derby. They'll be expecting 3 points. It's not a local derby, but it's a championship-ish relegation derby. This could be a relegation 6-pointer already. Not to put a dampener on Sunderland's excellent performance against West Ham. But this was starred because I'm looking to lay that draw late on. And Arsenal, of course, against Leeds. How good was that Leeds opening win? Can they follow it up against the best defence in the country? Championship again. I look at odds-ons. You can see I've missed the Sheffield United one, but they're having an awful start to the season. Southampton are odds on at home, but only just. West Brom odds on today, and Wrexham to continue the fairy tale under Ryan Reynolds et al. English League One, I've probably done most of the odds-ons already. This must have been a drift from 1.67 up to 2.1. So watch out for that. It was odds on when I touched it. Stockport County and Wycombe, and in English League Two. So this gives us an automatic look in to the matches which the market thinks they can predict. Because look at all the others. 2.6, 2.5, 2.45. All of these. If the market can't pick a winner, and you add in the fact it's the League Two, how on earth are we going to manage? Goal has come in, Freiburg against Augsburg, so that's the second goal. We've got 4 matches remaining, 0-0. I don't think we'll have 4 matches remaining, 0-0 at half time. Oh, sorry, 3 remaining. But we will see. Normally, Werder Bremen matches have a reputation for goals before half time. Probably got one of the shortest priced home favourites today in Eintracht Frankfurt. So the 3 o'clocks are coming on board. Good to see. Celtic had a dire midweek. They might be distracted today with that 0-0 against Kayra Almaty. A huge embarrassment. They've got to fix that in the second leg next week. So this 1.22 looks very slippery indeed today on that basis. One of the Dundees is involved in Europe as well, so watch out, they might be distracted as well. Hearts, whenever they are odds-on favourites, I do like to follow them or trust them. So with that in mind, let's just continue catching up with our odds-ons. So Marseille, Nice and Lyon, all odds-on at home. Saint-Etienne later on, odds-on favourite. And we've got to note the correction, 1.91 odds-on. So we've got a slant here towards Freiburg, home favourite. We've got a slant towards Frankfurt, as I say, one of the shortest price favs. And you can see the goal starting to topple. Now we know there might be an angle here if the market's correct about Stuttgart. But there's no form to work off. But this is the beginning of a trading angle, isn't it? So I immediately go here. And I'm going to be focusing on that Union Berlin-Stuttgart match with an eye on seeing whether or how accurate the market was pre-match on Stuttgart. So that's how I generate trading angles with these. And also 0-0s at half time in odds-on favourite matches do tend to topple second half. You might want to look at that strategy as well. So, for example, odds-on here, Karlsruhe doing the business, but wonder unpacking this if there was any trading angles involved. 1.67 and red card, it's probably not. Greek Super League, if any of the big guns are out and about. Aris Thessaloniki, Olympiakos, probable champions-elect along with AEK Athens. Serie A, Genoa are odds on today. Napoli are playing newly promoted Sassuolo, the epitome of a dominant Serie B side. They are a Serie A side just waiting to go back up again, which indeed they did. Roma are under new management. That's why their market can't really read them just yet. But the Tinkerman did an excellent job with them last season. Serie B as well, worth your attention. Palermo, odds on. Monza, odds on. And Empoli, odds on. Any of these newly relegated, they get special attention. And the goals are coming, as you can see. So my ideal would have been the half-hour mark for these 0-0s. There's only the one left. So please remember this. It's a very, very good goals league. And we've had this before. A whole raft of 0-0s coming towards the 30-minute mark, and they start toppling like flies, and you can get some very good value. And if just 2 of them come in, you'll be making a profit. So that's great. Hope you're all okay. Hi, Stephen. Nice to see you for another season. Let's hope it's not a Man City season. Dordrecht odds on. So that gives me a slant in this lesser league as well. Only the one match in Norway. If it's an odds on favourite, no, it's not. It's been postponed. Probably European fixtures in mind. We don't really have to play the Bundesliga anymore, thankfully. So we can say bye-bye to that one. And Corona Kielce odds-ons, just worth a look. If they perform like odds-ons, then we've got good trading angles. Victoria Guimaraes, the only reason I targeted this match. I like Victoria Guimaraes. Sporting Lisbon, Benfica, already dominant in Europe. Had a goal disallowed. Pacos Ferreira Rocher, 1.85 away favourite. So we'll have a look at the stats for that. And that's one we expected to see a goal come earlier, weren't we? 1.53, the shortest priced home fab today in Germany. So you've got 5 out of 5 goals before half time. What a pity, I was a bit greedy and waiting for the half-hour mark for those nil-nils to topple. Something for you to remember, though, particularly in Germany. So we've got some odds-ons today in the SPL, and only Atletico Madrid. It's already must-win territory for Atletico Madrid. I think they got a loss in their opening match, so they're already on the back foot. This, though, could be a very, very entertaining match. They've both got the same stripes, Levante and Barcelona. It is a derby, and it is an absolute humdinger. 3-3 and 2-3 in the last 2 Levante head-to-heads with Barca. So that's going to be an absolute cracker. We've got a 1.48, so you wouldn't have known that had we not used that half-time tool. You can check the in-play stats if you like what you see from All Grit. If you're Howling Mad Murdoch, of course, playing in this league. And we've got the last one, Fenerbahce, the special one, involved in Europe, and Gaziantepspor as well. He's doing a fine job in Europe at the moment, the special one. That's why they pay him 11 mil a year, the poor love. So we'll have a whip round for him after the live stream is over. So we've got the My Games. All of the odds-on favourites are now here and waiting. We can have a quick look through. Odds-on favourite leading, odds-on favourite as 1. Odds-on favourite 2-2. But it's coming a bit late. Could be a late Desmond, maybe. We've got a goal coming in. That's the Frankfurt goal confirmed. So it's just a Freiburg match to go. You might want to look again, half-hour mark in this one. Can they bring them all in on the first day of the season in Germany? That's already ended. So we can get rid of all of that. So we've got Bournemouth odds on coming up, as well as Arsenal and Leeds. So I will only be alerted, as you can see, should be auditory alert, I hope, because we want to know when goals come in odds-on favourite matches, particularly in busy matches, busy days like today, where you want to just bring the shortlist to the ones that the market fancy for these lower tiers. We are getting previews now in League One, which is very useful for you to have, but it's a bit inconsistent, nothing in the Championship. So I'm not sure about that. Maybe it's to do with the Soccer 24's bookmaker of choice, perhaps. I'm not sure. But do make use of them. They are extremely useful. As you know, I don't tend to research League One, League Two, because inevitably the shocks will occur when you least expect. That'll be the 2-0 to Eintracht Frankfurt. Indeed it is. So you've got your Werder Bremen, as I said, goals before half-time. Bayer Leverkusen and Hoff, goals before half-time. We might see this 1-0 vulnerable if Den Haag's changes the system for Leverkusen. If he starts cocking things up. As I was just about to say, that could be vulnerable. And it is the mighty Hoff, as Bosun will tell you. So that could have been a beautiful lay. I was just trying to persuade myself, because he is. You might as well stick a dunce hat on him. He is a Man United manager, Den Haag. How on earth he gets a 16 mil payout after butchering that club? Lord only knows. But that's what I was trying to persuade myself to maybe take on. A Den Haag 1-0 lead. Be interesting to see them. Are they going to collapse? Is he going to do a Graham Potter and start woefully? Are the Leverkusen fans going to turn against him because the football under Alonso was absolutely superb? So we're going to focus on our odds-on favourites as well, but we're not going to do the lower tiers. So let's make sure we stay out of this argument. Scottish League 1, Scottish League 2. It's a pity, and even the Championship, or maybe not for the newly promoted in the Championship, because they're expected to shine. So St Johnstone could be dominating this league. They've already given a couple of solid performances from a trader's perspective as well, if you're trusting these newly relegated to dominate their league. I think I'm right, they are newly relegated. So let's just tidy this up. The only side not to see goal before half-time just yet. And Leverkusen and half. The reason the stats look a bit quiet is probably because I've got the 5 minutes on. So we'll put the majors on there. So Eintracht Frankfurt, absolutely rock solid. Heidenheim and the Wolf, 2.55 the favourites. So the market can't pick between these two. So what chance do we have? That's the realistic call with that match. Unless there's something compelling like a red card and a good reaction to the red card. So the 3 o'clocks are coming on board. Hope you're all okay over on YouTube. I'll just tidy it up. So I hope everything's fine with you all. That's the AI tip finder. I'm going to be practicing with this now and again. I'm building it up. Man City v Tottenham, Man City to win. So, and that's after the match has been played. So this is obviously absolutely top quality. This is Man United like tipping from this AI football tip finder. Gives you the short odds favourite after the match has been played, but just needs updating, I would suggest. So these are ones, once I've taken them through the ringer, hopefully they will deliver for us at some point. Refresh here, and let's see, because we've got all the 3 o'clocks coming up, and I will be recording the 2.5 goal plays here and the under 2.5 goal plays, because you never know, we might get an angle. And this is the nice, quickest way to create a bet and go strategy, is to use AI like this. So I'll be waiting with interest to see what it says, particularly from the 2.5 goal perspective. Once this is up and running, you'll have free use of it at the website, as long as it doesn't cost me to transfer it to the website. So we'll see how useful this football tip finder will be. You never know, it could just have a knack in picking solid 2.5 goal plays. As ever, you don't need 3 goals to come in, you just need that first or second goal to have been scored at the right time. And maybe if we get an opportunity to do a 2.5 goal play, we could do. If we get the Premier League 1, Premier League 2 down, we can have a go. The goal come in again in a match of interest, and that's the Heidenheim equaliser against the Wolf in a match we didn't have a clue. Simple as that. 2.5 the favourite, no clue at all. Inter Turku, we can return to Inter Turku to see whether they've continued their pressure. 11 shots off target, but the last 5 minutes will reveal all. Nothing. I don't know if this is last 5 minutes, because it's also last 10. It could be. So some pressure late on for Inter. They are top of the league. If you can get anything about Ilves at all, you might want to just have a late, quick lay. You are with one of the form sides this season who are just putting in a bit of a charge. No, it looks like the market is over there. That's how I would have played that one. It's a derby style match, I call it. It doesn't have to be geographical. It can be league position derby, top 3 clash. Obviously, no mugs. Could be very important in their title push and European push for Ilves as well. So the 3 o'clocks are upon us. So we have to be organised. That's why I do these odds-ons. It just helps to shorten the expanse of matches. But what we'll do, be scanning the in-play stats if we don't have a 3 o'clock hiccup, which I hope this doesn't suggest it will be. They do have this from time to time. There are, what's it, soccer? I haven't been to it for such a long time. Soccerscanner.net, I think, was the other very reliable. And indeed cheaper. This is recommended. I'm not getting any commission out of this at all, but this used to be my backup scanner. Soccerscanner.net. So as I can show you it. No. This is about, I think it was £10 a month. If it remains as much, an absolute bargain. Absolute bargain. Because you want in-play stats. If you don't want to be forking out for this, In-Play Guru does have better features for me. I particularly like bringing these matches up to the top here. That's a favoured feature, and I also like the pre-match odds underneath. We do need to know pre-match odds. I would have preferred them above, but you can't have everything. Bolton Wanderers and Lincoln City are the first port of call here. Bolton and Northampton is to check if they're odds on. Doesn't look like they are, or they could be. One of these two is an odds on favourite. And that's the full house before half time in Germany. So that's something for you to stick in your notebook for the rest of the Bundesliga season, the high probability of goals. So we've got a 1.75 favourite in Bolton, a goal down to Lincoln City. That's why we do this list. Because then I can go here. I know it's English League One, so I put my leagues into league order. I'll scroll down to English League One. And I'm going to be looking at the reaction from Bolton to this. Why are they odds on pre-match? They're on a 3-match draw sequence. Maybe that's the reason they're odds on. The market needs them to end that draw sequence because you're dropping points at each turn. But they're on a 1-1 draw sequence as well. They haven't let a side concede a second goal so far in their 2 matches in the English League One. Lincoln City, on the other hand, this is another thing I like about this. You can just have a quick look. Lincoln City will be feeling very confident. I think Plymouth were even red carded. Sorry, Lincoln were even red carded against Plymouth, I believe, and won. Because certainly one of the P's was involved in a red carded match and lost. Lincoln and Northampton, note the clean sheet in that one away from home. So we have very little to work with, don't we? But we do have that 1-1 sequence for Bolton. You add it into the fact they're odds on favourite. We want to see a reaction from the stats. Maybe we'll have to use these. But now you see the usefulness of just shortening this. The other match, we saw the goal come in here. Obviously not an odds on favourite match, so it's not going to get my full attention. Northampton and Exeter. Okay, might do in a sweep at half time. See whether Exeter have been knocking on the door. But our main focus for these lower tiers, because they are so unreliable, we'll be hoping that the market has read the matches correct. So when we get an upset, we can get a potential correction afterwards. Let's just hope these in-play stats come on board because we are flying blind. That's what I say about this. £10 a month. Soccerscanner.net. Excellent scanner. And it had a really good stats section as well. They're not showing you the scanner though. Here we go, there's a demo here. So I've got another goal in the match of interest. Bournemouth and Wolves, odds on favourite now we know. Bournemouth are leading Wolverhampton Wanderers, who are starting to look less like the Portuguese national side each season as Nuno Espirito has left. Could be anything at this stage of the season. I wouldn't take the market's odds-on favouritism to heart. There's soccerscanner.net. It's a very useful one. It's £10 a month for those of you on a budget. Highly recommended. You want your in-play stats to all be on the one page like this. That's why you can get it free at williamhill.com, but match by match by match by match. You can get it free at totalcorner.com, but not shots on and shots off in the separate columns. So you get what you pay for here, and even the momentum index itself will probably more than make up for the monthly cost. Once you learn how to read this, you can amaze your friends and family by telling them who's going to score the next goal and why and when. So we just get rid of a few of these. I like doing it manually like this, particularly when no goals are coming in. Well, one has come in a match of interest. Again, Harrogate and Chesterfield. Is it an odds-on favourite match? No, it's not, is it? Harrogate and Chesterfield. Yes, it is. And it's gone to the odds-on favourite. So that's not necessarily a surprise in English League 2. I hope you got MK Dons earlier on. That is what I would wish would happen in all these League 2 matches. It's just so readable. Such good odds for such an emphatic side stats-wise, first and second half. Swindon, odds-on favourite in English League 2, look to be scoring as well. We would have been alerted had Harrogate or Shrewsbury got the opening goals in those matches. So that's the usefulness here. We're waiting to see whether we'll get a reaction from Bolton now. So we're just looking at this. No stats just yet from Bolton. Swindon and the Shrews, that's confirmation of that goal just coming in. And you can see the usefulness of the auditory alerts, which we do need. Ideally, this will be on my telephone next to my laptop, so I don't have to flip between tabs. I can just get a quick look at this, and this will limit your workload, of course, as well. Also, a good look at 3:45. How many of these have nil-nils at half time? We can check the in-play stats then. We can go to soccer stats and check, see whether second half goals were expected, etc., etc. Sogndal and Moss, no great interest in Norway. In fact, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. We only want dings in matches of interest, and we're not going to be playing the lower tiers today, apart from Lillestrøm, Mr. Reliable, highly likely to go unbeaten this season. So let's cheer on Raufoss today. And there we go. Any others we can get rid of? No, I think we've already done our homework, haven't we, in picking our leagues of interest. And now we're in a good position to only be alerted when matches of importance have goals in them. We could, if you wanted to, do this. Bolton and Lincoln. Just change the sound like that, so you'll be alerted for these odds-on favourites. Huddersfield and Stevenage. Got another odds-on favourite here. So now we'll be alerted to the odds-on if this one isn't working. Sometimes it doesn't. Peterborough and Bradford, near enough odds-on. Thankfully, they're all in the same ballpark. Peterborough and Bradford. Stockport and Burton. We'll move down to here. And Wickham and Reading. So we'll get all the sounds like that. Colchester and Barrow, if it came up here, it would be an odds-on favourite match in this lower tiers. We're not going to dismiss all the other matches. We can maybe look at those at half-time, see what kind of a reaction we've had. How's the EPL looking? Well, we've got the opening goal for Bournemouth against Wolves. What type of a goal was it for Bournemouth? Was it a lucky goal? Tavernier and Semenyo, he's been a real thorn in opponents' sides, Semenyo, so far for Bournemouth. They need to keep him fit, that's for sure. So nothing much to report in the EPL. You've seen caution advised. Just because it's on the telly, just because it's famous names, doesn't mean there's a trading angle. You saw that Man City in Tottenham, where the 5.5 goal play was the best one. And there we go. In one of our odds-on favourite matches, we've got a goal. Wycombe against Reading. So now we know it's going to come up here. And we can preempt the goal. It's gone to the odds-on favourite, Wycombe. So no great surprises there. So that's a great way for you, if you have the time, work your way through these odds-on favourites. And then you'll be alerted. For example, we know Saints are odds-on today at home. Preston North End against Ipswich. That's not an odds-on favourite match. Yes, it is. And been a big drift for Ipswich from 1.95 out to 2.15. How accurate was the market before? Because I might want to watch this one, I think. Preston and Ipswich in the Championship. Why have Ipswich drifted? We've got Notts County and Bromley. Is it an odds-on favourite match? Doesn't look like it. Coventry and QPR. Coventry were excellent last week, weren't they? But one of those sides, I would have got a three-figure return had I not cashed out at 3-3. Side to follow this season, particularly when the market fancies them. So I'd have been all over that had QPR scored first, that's for sure. Well worth following Coventry this season. Just stood out, haven't they, early on? In-play stats were impeccable last season. With that in mind, we can do our first look in after 10 minutes. Fleetwood against Oldham. Not an odds-on favourite match. Or is it? Yes, it is. No, it's not. Fleetwood against Oldham. Our odds-ons, just click on the My Games here, and then they'll come up. So it's working nicely. We're just keeping an eye on the scores on the Diana Doors. Freiburg and Augsburg, it's a 0-2 lead for the away side. That could be one for us to just monitor. 0-2 lead for the away side. Evans favourite Freiburg pre-match. See if there's any value, because you're going to get the half-time team talk. You're going to get the reminder they are at home. So you're going to get a renewed Freiburg at the second half. It's all a matter of whether that goal has stood for Augsburg and whether we can get any value out of it. Well, if they're at these odds, then yes, please, for the second half. Okay, definitely on board with that one. No need to rush unless we get a 1-2 from Freiburg. Let's take a first quick look through the other matches today. And I'm just a bit suspicious that 12 minutes in, there's so many blanks. I hope there's no concerns with the in-play stats feed today. Normally a lot busier, the Championship, but I'll take this on face value. So nothing much to report with the early kickoffs. Northampton and Exeter, 3 attacks in response from Exeter. Not enough to get me salivating just yet. We've got our odds on favourites, but we'll be alerted to those matches using our system from Soccer24. Well, Celtic are calming the nerves against Livingston with an early goal. Now, normally with a side like Celtic, we wait for the 20-minute mark for them, such short odds. But they are pre and post European club competition. They might be vulnerable today. They could limp over to a 1-0. We might find ourselves with some value today. I'm not going to be playing the National League, League One, sorry, League North or League South. So let's just see what it's quiet enough. Just going to get rid of a few of these. Unless Guernsey are playing, I'll be following them with interest. So I'll just get rid of a few of these. And we go back to the EPL. So it's expected goals. It's quiet again, stats-wise. Burnley and Sunderland, I would take on any late draw here. They must get 3 points off your near market rival. Don't forget, the last 3 newly promoted sides to the Premier League all went down. We've got a Brentford opener against Aston Villa. Are we going to see that 2-goal habit come to play for the Villains? That's going to be one to follow. If they ignite away from home, don't forget Brentford are under new management and he could be a little naive. Compare him to the mighty Dick Emery. And I wonder if that goal's been scrubbed off. We'll get confirmation. The reason it didn't come up because it's not an odds-on favourite goal as this Wrexham one is. Wrexham odds-on favourite today. How far away or how long ago was that Brentford goal? It has come up in the odds-on. No, it hasn't, because this is... I'm just waiting to see whether we're going to get that 2-goal Aston Villa away today. It's 2.2 the favourite. New Brentford manager as well. So again, we're flirting with disaster. You could do a John H if you wanted to, which would be to go both teams to score no, which covers the 2-0 to Brentford. And then you'd have to back 2-1. So both teams to score no. Should be quite high, reasonably high. You'll be looking to win your stake. I'm just going to show you this. You might not have the confidence to do it yourself, or it might not appeal to you because these are quite illiquid markets, as you can see. You've just gone from 4.2 down to 3.15. So we're flirting with disaster if we hit that by accident. So no confirm for me there. Let's see if I can get on that. This is just to show you. It's to, sorry, I've done it wrong as well. It's to win 40 quid. So that's a complete and utter cock up. It's to win 40 quid. You're going to win the amount you want to stake with. So we're going again. So ignore that. It's going to be out of kilter now, but ignore that 7. So that should be £40 there. Then we go to the correct score market. And we're going to be looking at covering the 2-1 to Brentford to win £40 as well. So the 2-1 to Brentford was 0-3. That's an even better angle for the second half. Thank you, Augsburg. So that's all right, isn't it? £16, £6. Now you've got every score line to nil covered. You've got 1-0 covered, you've got 2-0 covered, you've got 2-1 covered. Now you've got carte blanche. You're using £40 stakes, so you divide that by 2. Untick your profit box. Back Aston Villa at 4.2 and lay Brentford. Don't forget, this comes with risks. So I'm pinning my hopes on 2 things. One, the naive Brentford manager, set-piece coach, might not have the nous that Unai Emery does. And 2, Aston Villa's 2-goal away sequence last season. But please remember, there's not enough form. It could be 2-0 Brentford. It could be 3-0 Brentford. We just don't know. New team changes, new manager. Just seen Tottenham's new manager completely shock Manchester City. We could see similar. We could see Brentford's manager growing into the role. We just don't know. But he did look very, very naive in his opener. Or maybe I'm doing a disservice to, I think it's Nottingham Forest. So let's have a look now at Freiburg, because I think this will be a good lay. To nothing. At these odds, you write it off. But you're going to have a good ride if Freiburg score the next goal and early. Half-time team talk, don't forget. Half-time team talk. These two, I think, were top 10 last season, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't checked my research. Don't forget a small back at 100s. You could even just do a 50p or a quid. Look at that liability and look at the maximal return. Don't forget, we've got a home side. Half-time team talk. How about that? So I'm just going to pass this one on to Telegrammers. So I've been a little quiet. Because in this opening day of the season, you have to be very cautious. I've gone Freiburg 0, Augsburg 3. I've laid Augsburg and a small back of Freiburg. It's got to be done. It's half-time. Freiburg team talk. Freiburg are at home. We might get a significant reaction. If we can get an early goal to make this 1-3, it could change the complexion of that second half. It's a later nothing. It's a very small liability for a very good return. So that's well worth doing. Got to catch up with our goals coming in. So Kilmarnock and Dundee. Burnley and Sunderland. I was looking at laying that draw very, very late on. Union Berlin and Stuttgart. Well, we were looking at the possibility of a Stuttgart equaliser there. But this is the early season. Kilmarnock and Dundee, we know we've got an odds-on favourite there as well. So we weren't playing Union Berlin. We were just acknowledging an odds-on favourite 2-0 down. So are we going to have another one of these plays? All depends how short the odds are for Union Berlin, because it's very, very speculative, isn't it? Kilmarnock, I would suggest, down in Scotland, are odds-on favourite. They've gone a goal down to Dundee FC. We could just check whether this is the Dundee that's involved in Europe or not. Because if it is involved in Europe and they're leading, they might be too vulnerable. No, they're not. It's Dundee United, I would say. Yeah, Dundee United. Club friendly, not conference league. Okay. So that could be one. Kilmarnock and Dundee FC. But we can investigate them. 2-0. We can investigate that as well. And we can investigate that. We know that Hearts are odds-on favourite. So let's bring up some SPL matches, which are just about tolerable from a liquidity perspective. So we'll get this back into some kind of a league order, and then I can find Scotland quickly. Unless I've got the Premier League up here. Yeah, Kilmarnock, you can see 1.85. Now this is going to start getting silly. So no, Kilmarnock is reverted to 0-0. But still, Hearts, if they're anything like they were last season, extremely good when odds-on favourites. So those of you who followed me last year will have seen that quite often. You can see 2-0 to Union Berlin is not quite the expectation. 1.83 away, Stuttgart. Again, I'd always encourage you to enter, because if it does go wrong, look at the liability. Why was Stuttgart odds on pre-match? Just check the Union Berlin goals as well. Any goals from an error? Now we've got those error stats. Let's check those error stats out. And this is pretty decent entry point, isn't it? So let's go to the Union Berlin match. Check that one out. Look at Coventry. Coventry fans are going to be in for a good season, I would suggest. They've got a great chance. Can they get automatically promoted? That is the question. So I've just lost my train of thought. Union Berlin and Stuttgart. There we go. So we're going to check this out. Check the goals first. Answer in his Panzer. 2 goals from open play. He is the obvious difference. Just looking at some of the stats we know now that suggest underlying attacking threat. So we will need to be looking at those for Stuttgart. You can already see with a slant towards the right that the difference is literally answer, isn't it? He's finishing because we've got for Stuttgart 1.47 expected goals on target, 0.92 expected goals, far better. So it's just answer being very, very efficient. Only 4 shots in total. 2 on target, 2 goals. That's that boy answer again. It looks like Stuttgart have been caught with the pants down with answer in their Panzer. Shots inside the box, 7-2. Hit the woodwork once. This is why these extra stats would just maybe give you a different view of this 2-0 scoreline. Tuts in the opposition box, 12. And moving on down, clearances, well, they've been doing a bit more of the defending. Goalkeeping, well, they've made, no, they haven't. The Stuttgart goalkeeper has not been made to work yet. 3 saves for the side, 2-0 up. I don't understand. So, interesting. But it does suggest a bias attacking-wise for Stuttgart. We've got another one of our red card matches. Stockport and Burton Albion, an odds-on favourite match. So that just gives you an additional look at the attacking stats. Does it slant you towards Stuttgart? The odds might, if you want to be speculative. Again, we've got absolutely no form to work with. We've only got in-play stats, which are here and now. And that I like. Don't forget, this is the last 5 minutes. So that's a good reaction. The last 5 minutes of the first half. So let's just have a look. That is going to irritate me. So I don't know why it does this. Thank you. Right. Union Berlin and Stuttgart. You can't really do insurance on this one, can you? Because you'll have to cover 2-0 and you'll have to cover 2-1. So it's a simple, again, you might ask about staking. So let's say that my usual stake is 40 quid. This will give you an idea of how much I'm risking on this match. And I weigh it up by instinct. So I know how much is left of the match. I've just had a look at Stuttgart's in-play stats. They were quite good, weren't they? From an attacking perspective. So I'm quite happy to just put that over to about 11 quid if I can back 12.5. So maybe down here a bit. So it's up to me and it's up to you. It's on a match-by-match basis. I can't provide you exact staking for each match. I do try, if I can, to get up to 100 here, but that does look a little bit too high. So that's, well, it's only an extra 2 quid, so I might as well go for it. What we're looking for is Stuttgart to score the next goal, ideally. That's why you back them as well, because if they make it 2-1 before the hour mark, you ain't going to be seeing 12.5, that's for sure. So that liability might be a little bit too high for you relative to the £40, because it's done without any hedging involved. You can hedge 2-0 and 2-1. I can show you how much it will cost. 2-0 and 2-1 to win 40 odd quid will cost you £27. £27 that'll cost, but then you can back Stuttgart for £20 at 13s. You can lay Union Berlin for a £20 liability at 1.32. That will really add up. So it's all relative, isn't it? Look at that, £62.50 by laying to a £20 liability, backing to £20 if you're covering the 2-0 and 2-1. Of course, everything is going to go Lionel Blair if it gets to 3-0, of course. 325, how about that? 230 quid for the sake of that £26 on the correct score. So it's very tempting, isn't it? But if it gets 3-0, you'll have lost that 26 quid and you'll have lost that 20 quid stake and the 20 quid stake. So it can turn into a heavy loss. West Brom and Pompey, obviously an odds-on favourite match here. Who is the odds-on favourite? Let's have a look. It's gone to odds-on favourite West Brom against Pompey. So let's have a look at our in-play stats. 28 minutes in. Not many goals popping in just yet. Do check out your 2-0s, apart from commentary, of course, very strong odds-on favourites. I will be alerted if there's any odds-ons coming in. So let's just have a quick look through. Pacos Ferrero Rocher, odds-on favourites pre-match. Nothing much going on, is there? So I think early in the season. The reason I'm following them, I think they're newly relegated. Very familiar name. Union Berlin and Stuttgart, I've shown you how to get involved in this one if you want to at half-time. It's trusting whether the market has got 1.83 Stuttgart accurate or not, because you'll expect at least a goal if they have. If we can get that goal by the hour mark, you are up and running. Let's see whether I would have hypothetically backed 2-0 and 2-1, whether I'd have got that huge payout if Stuttgart go on and win. Freiburg and Augsburg. Again, you can lay Augsburg with impunity here. They're away from home against an evens home favourite. Half-time team talk. Get the old DP out. Some orange segments and some Lucasade. And Freiburg might be renewed. All done in a quick burst at the end of the first half. You can see with the momentum graph here that Freiburg did have their moments in the first half, just did not convert. Leverkusen, again, new manager syndrome makes it very difficult to trust Den Haag. I certainly will need to see a lot more of Leverkusen before I can start trusting him. An awful manager. A complete non-fit for an exciting attacking unit like Bayer, who might suffer from the absence of the key personnel who were sold majority to Liverpool, and that new manager, key managerial replacement, who I do not like. So I wish I'd got them 1-0 up. Might be targetable this season. Maybe go neutral. You see already 2 goals before half-time. Kilmarnock odds on, but they had the goal disallowed. Hearts, we haven't seen a reaction yet. And St Johnstone we're following only because they're newly relegated. Scoring already. Celtic against Livy, we're half an hour in. Normally 1.22 shots. You'll see a goal before half-time. They did not oblige against Kairat Almaty, by the way. Didn't even score against Kairat Almaty. No shots on target at the moment. Is this one of those pre-European nervous matches? Looks like it, doesn't it? We've got a red card for Stockport, but they're already a goal down to Burton, so that doesn't matter at all. We can say ta-ra to that one. Trading angle would have been the leader a goal, a red card, because there'll be even shorter odds to lay. So let's have a look through. We're going to wait for a reaction from Hearts. Can't go by last season's very, very strong pattern, which I wish would continue, that they don't tend to lose at odds on. They were very efficient last season. Celtic, well, just waiting to see whether this is a European sandwich, because they failed to score against Kairat Almaty. They've got to worry about visiting Kazakhstan. Bolton and Lincoln, well, we're still waiting on the reaction for Bolton. It's not as strong as MK Dons earlier on today, but you can see they're starting to build it up, but notably Lincoln have the better attacks. St Johnstone I can get rid of now, just waiting for an upset. Have Aston Villa done anything just yet? Again, opening matches of the season, probably best not to trade. Preston against Ipswich, we've got an odds on favourite. No, don't. Yes, we do. They've drifted, don't they? Didn't they? To 2.2. So we're just watching that with interest. So I'll get rid of a few of these matches. Pacos are starting to warm up, but Liera were the pre-match favourites. So I'll hide that one. Already a 2-0 lead for Frank. Not sure they'll get pegged back. Heidenheim and the Wolf, we don't know, do we? Do we lay the draw second half? But you've seen it is a strong 2.5 goal league, isn't it? I'll be looking with interest from tomorrow onwards to see how many of these 1-1s at half-time ended. That could be something for us to target. Any standout in-place stats from the first half? Not really. I think there might be a feed issue with these lower tiers. Certainly keep an eye on this, because you'd expect these two to be looking at ending those draws. They need 3 points against a likely relegation rival. Second halves are beginning, so we can have a look at the likes of Birmingham. So maybe just to start picking up the odds-on favourites who are 0-0 at half-time. Birmingham, for example. Sheffield United, Southampton. Just want to look at their stats. So we'll go and have a look at Sheffield United and Southampton. I think we've already got them up here. Sheffield United and Southampton. Not yet, no. So just get this back in order. And the goals are flowing. Sheffield United and Southampton. So the Sheffield United match was an odds-on pre-match. Southampton was odds-on pre-match as well. Do tend to see those odds-ons ending. Coventry, again, a second consecutive week, they've scored 3 or more goals. Brilliant display from them. Don't need to follow them anymore. That's for sure. Got the odds-ons coming in, as you can see. So we can just check out the Eerste Divisie See if there's odds on favourites going to go down or not in that league. So that's Go Ahead Eagles been corrected. Dordrecht and Young, you can see 2 minutes in, 1.48 Dordrecht. So immediately we can check that one out. Put it on our roster as a potential play. So Dordrecht already nudging towards odds on. That's the extreme value you get with a very, very early goal. It's no panic at all 3 minutes in, particularly when you were 1.48. You're expected to score 2 goals at least. So let's just have a look at the Premier League. Brentford and Aston Villa. We're not seeing that away itis. It is a risky one. We have been warned this stage of the season. Are we going to be seeing the 2-goal Aston Villa? Are we going to be seeing Brentford's new manager clicking into gear or not? So let's take a look through our odds-on favourite list. Any nil-nils? Burnley and Sunderland. We should have that up here. So it looks a very tight, nervy one, that one. Frankfurt, I don't think we need to be following them anymore. 3-0 up. Look how many nudging towards over 2.5 goals we've got the first day of the Bundesliga. So this could be an angle for us in the Bundesliga, and I'll do that next week maybe. My angle for over 2.5 goals is double it. You can do over 1.5 goals if it's 0-0 at half time, or you can do backing over 2.5 goals and looking for a goal before half time. So if you can wait 15 or 20 minutes and then back over 2.5 goals, and if you can get a goal before half time, you will actually make a profit. You don't have to get 3 goals coming in for an over 2.5 goal trading profit. You can see the solidity of the goals though coming in the Bundesliga. So watch out for that next week. Mansfield against Leyton Orient, no strong opinion there. So let's walk our way through some of these other matches. Anything catching our attention? Not really. I can get rid of Turenza. This looks like an underdog leading. Indeed it is, but it's a second tier, so I'm not going to bother with that. Go Ahead Eagles have been in excellent form, particularly against the big boys. So if they start igniting today, Sparta will be in trouble. Sheffield United and Millwall, it's one of the nil-nils, and it's gone to the away side. But Sheffield United are in awful form at the moment. It was a surprise for me to see them at odds on today. They are in terrible form. I don't know what's gone on. Hope you're all okay over on YouTube. Augsburg goal, quick one from Bournemouth indeed. Hello Enoch, nice to see you. Pack ball is also good. So let's go back. Those of you expecting an avalanche of trades, you might be disappointed because, as you know, it's opening day. You've got to be very cautious. Try to get our liabilities as low as possible and look really for those MK Dons, the ones where everything lines up. Stats, everything. So this one, Sheffield United, and nowhere near the side who nearly went up last season. 2-1 loss, sorry, 4-1 loss to Bristol City was just awful. Swansea and Sheffield United was a break-even for us. But I wonder if they're having trouble. You can look at their past match. I wonder if they're having trouble. But they are the away side, and you can see total shots, 8. Shots on target, 0. Do they have any significant injuries? Anyone knows the Blades? Not really. Looks like a new manager as well. That's not your usual dour Yorkshireman in charge. So I wonder how recent that new manager is, because they're just not performing. So even though they're on the odds-on favourite list, I wouldn't necessarily be taking on the Lions today. So get that, sorry, back to my list here. So even though we've been alerted to it, doesn't mean it's a play. Celtic are starting to warm up, 39 minutes in. Up to you if you wanted to look for a goal before half-time in their match. But for me, I don't think it's worth the risk with the European football coming up next week that they're cocked up completely. First half goals, 3.5 if you fancy a goal on the 40-minute mark. Or if you want to go half-time score, 1-0, 2-0. I would even do 2-0 at this stage. 1-0 at 4.4, 2-0 at 18.5. Probably wrong. Should be a lot higher than that with 5 minutes to go. Should be heading towards this. 28s. That's the same as 2-0. So if you fancied backing that, just as a throwaway, and a 1-0. Up to you, but they didn't do it last time against Kairat Almaty. And they only beat St Mirren 1-0 as well. A good win against Aberdeen. They weren't troubled at any stage, but it's been a very quiet affair. Built on clean sheets, really, in the SPL for Celtic. So if you're going to do goals before half-time, probably best to do looking for Celtic to score them, 1-0 or 2-0. But the clock is running out, but the in-play stats are looking good. Do you trust them second half? It's a bit like Crystal Palace midweek, isn't it? Huffing and puffing. The better side, will they get that goal? Birmingham have got the opener against Oxford again. Watch out for these 0-0s at half-time for odds-on favourites. Be interesting to look in tomorrow's video. How many 0-0s at half-time ended? That's one of them come in. The other ones, we've got Huddersfield, Bradford, and Cheltenham against Barnet. And yes, it's that Den Haag magic. Ah, it's great to see. 16 million quid payout, and this is what you get. Oh, good. Now, if you think I'm taking on the mighty Hoff without Egypt as manager, he'll be out the revolving door with another 16 million Deutschmark at this rate. I'm not sure I'll be taking on that Hoff lead, but we'll have to look at the in-play stats. If this was the Alonso Leverkusen, I would be all over it like a rash. But this looks like a snooze fest Den Haag side, doesn't it? God help us. Stuttgart making the right noises. We're only 5 minutes into the second half. We've got a decent enough angle, low liability. We saw their in-play stats in the first half. We looked a little more under the bonnet, and they did tick all of the boxes, didn't they? So that's well worth going at. And we'll see whether the market's accurate about the 1.83. Certainly accurate about the in-play stats. So I like that. Okay, nothing to do. Portuguese second tier. And Middlesbrough have the opener against Norwich. It's not an odds-on favourite match, as you can see. Wickham and Reading. I think that's a surprise, isn't it? Leverkusen a surprise as well, but 1.73 under new manager. You'll be seeing the football genius at the bottom here, E10 Haag. And it's not the side of, they've still got Patrick Schick, which is great. They're just missing Wirtz, and I think Frimpong, who is very important in goals. So it's not quite the Leverkusen that we know and love. It is, of course, the Hoff that we know and love. They've even got a player called Arthur Chavs. That's how good Leverkusen are. I won't be taking on that lead just yet. And that was the risk, worrying whether we'll see 2 goals or not from Aston Villa today. That's certainly the best entry point, 2-0. But as ever, opening matches of the season are becoming very difficult to call. So we'll have a look at that goal as well. Is it from open play? So that's the Norwich goal. The only reason I'm interested in this is to see whether Villa would have that second goal habit. That's not 3-0. I think it's 2-0. And that's come just at half time. Or is it disallowed? They got away with it there. That would have been a good entry point, 2-0, certainly, if you can trust that Aston Villa 2-goal habit, which I wonder if we can have a look at. If we can just home in on away matches, historical away matches. No, we can't. No, that's a pity. Oh, results. So we can't really look at the aways, but you'll see that's the kind of thing you're looking at. 2 goals, targeting 2 goals, or trying to at least. They had a really strong run in the Premier League for their away performances. And then they turned up and got them where it mattered in the Champions League. As you can see, the consistent attempt to get a couple of goals. That's something you just started noting from the villains. So that 2-0 would have been a great entry point, but it's very, very tough to read the Premier League at this stage of the season. Looking at Stuttgart, making the right noises now, aren't they? 111 momentum. When you hear me mention that on Telegram, when I'm doing a Telegram session, this is what I'm talking about. Hitting 100 plus. So whatever calculations are used to get this momentum, attacking pressure, it's probably something to do with the time attacks, shots on and shots off, something like that. But it is normally an accurate reflection of the next team to score. So let's hope that Stuttgart get that goal before the hour mark, because we'll start motoring if we do. Got a goal, Brentford and Aston Villa. I think that's been disallowed. Yeah, disallowed. Oh, another one. I'm not sure. Still 1-0, I think. So good noises from Stuttgart. A goal before the hour mark, we'd get that 2-1 up and running, wouldn't it? Because the market would be thinking they're dominating this. They've got half an hour to go. Pre-match odds on favourites. So they're looking like they're playing like pre-match odds on favourites. So 2-0 is a great entry point with that in mind. Nothing much showing from Freiburg with shots on target, but shots off target, only the 2 second half. Again, laying at 1.06. You're not expecting a victory. A goal would be excellent to get things up and running. And it's always great to have a bonus. You've got an angle in. It's the fact they're away from home against a favourite before half time. Not going to be touching Den Haag's Leverkusen at all. Should have laid them at even shorter odds than 1.2 with that opening goal. 1.7. I think the 1.2 with that opening goal, that would have been lovely, wouldn't it? Kilmarnock against Dundee. Playing like odds on favourites. 2 shots on, 2 shots off, 6 corners. 3 times the amount of attacks. Going through an unbeaten sequence of scoring 2 goals as well. Scoring second half as well, Kilmarnock. In the last 2 matches, they've scored at least a goal second half in the Premiership and in the League Cup against Dundee United. And at Dundee, the last 0-0 they had at home was a 1-1. Second half, both teams have scored in each of the last 2 head-to-heads and in 3 of the last 4 head-to-heads in the second half. Do you trust that? Nice and recent stats as well, 2024 to 2025. So are we going to see both teams to score here? If you fancy that, over 2.5 goals second half would be the neutral play there. Hearts showing anything like coming back into this, because for me they have been very trustworthy at odds on. Dare I bring that in to this new season? Let's have a look at the liquidity. To be laying over 1.5 goals. This is risky. It's based on last season. The only time they cocked it up was when they were red carded a goal down. They ended up losing 2-0. Look at Hearts +1. If it's significantly bigger than 1.26, well, it's just nudging to evens if you fancy that. Now this is up to you if you want to follow this one in. It's only based on them being odds on last season. If you want to go for the win, you would back Hearts at a... See, the greater your risk by going for the win, you risk a loss on the draw if they make it 1-1 late on. But if you're willing to take the risk, you're going to be rewarded, particularly if they can make this 1-1 nice and quick. You've got £81 ready. So it's up to you if you've wanted to follow that one in, Hearts and Motherwell. It's playing blind, basically. That's why the in-play stats are so important at this stage of the season. You can see Celtic coming to the end of the first half, looking to score before half-time. Are they going to take this pressure into the second half? Don't forget they failed to score against Kairat Almaty. They have already pretty much been given the title by Rangers, who drew 2 consecutive opening matches all over the shop. 6 corners for the Villains. A sight of something second half. Dordrecht reserves 20 minutes in, 4 shots off 3 corners for the 1 point very short, 1.48 pre-match fav. You see they're highly likely to equalise. That's why we do the odds-ons. You can get your plays anywhere as long as it's got liquidity, but you can hope that they're performing like odds-ons, so they're going to deliver like odds-ons. So you're getting over evens about a 1.48 who are looking dominant force in this match. The negative is just a poor league. So while we have a few minutes to half-time, I'm just going to get myself a drink. And there's Lillestrøm, our old pals, just in case they conceded the first half goal. So I'll just leave you for a little bit. Problem with Villa, Watkins has no competition. They need to rectify that. Yeah, indeed. Some have very weak forward lines, don't they? Just going to go get myself a drink. I won't be long. Right, okay. Just put that down. Now we're getting frustratingly close with Stuttgart. I'll just see what this one says. Leverkusen on the half. Draw odds of 4.89. New manager Den Haag. Significant player departure, indeed. Frimpong and Wirtz. Multiple key injuries. So that's interesting. Gone for the draw as the value bet of the day. Arsenal win to 0. That could increase the value to evens or higher. I'll be recording some of these, as I say, the over 2.5 goals, just to see the record. See whether they will be doing the job. So that's just a departure there. Goals coming in. And that has ended Wolfsburg and Heidenheim. So 2.5 goals is still very much alive in the Bundesliga, isn't it, this season? So we've got all our half times. Well, we might as well try to recognise some more odds on favourites. We're going to go back from Freiburg. Fantastic stuff. So let's just break off, see how that goal and its timing has influenced the market. There we go. Now, you're not going to be booking that super yacht just yet. It's all relative to the amount risked, isn't it? Just for that single goal. So £5.20, £6. Well, it's pretty much evens 1-to-1 risk return. So, as I keep saying, if you double that, you double that, but you double the risk. If you triple that, you triple your profit, but you triple the risk. So the amount of risk that you place will determine the amount of early reward. Because this, you can lock it in with just a goal if you increase your risk, rather than waiting for a 2-3 and a better return. Does that make sense? So we're up and running, right on the hour mark. Now the complexion of the match has completely changed. Home side has got the next goal. 2-3 on about 75, right in the middle of the remaining half hour, would set this up very, very nicely. You'd probably get an increase in this green at 2-3. Then it would be a 1-goal in it match for the remaining 15. So they're going to do it in 15-minute blocks, I hope. Freiburg. Well worth doing, isn't it? You're going to get that half-time team talk. So that's up and running. Just waiting for Stuttgart. You can see they touched the hundreds, but then the momentum has dropped off. Not going to be touching the mighty Den Haag's Leverkusen. I'm not howling mad Murdoch. Killy, well, we'll wait and see second half. Celtic, as you can see, the only value with Celtic would be a correct score, win 2-0. But they've been doing, Paris Saint-Germain have been doing it recently at short odds, 1-0 wins, 2 consecutive. So I'm not sure I can trust Chelsea. They'll do a 1-0 today, like the St. Mirren match, and then just try and make some changes for that Kira Almaty cock-up second leg that they still have to score in. You taken by Bolton just yet? You know, they were one of our first odds-ons. 5 shots off and 3 corners. No shots on target. We don't really have a momentum graph to work off. And don't forget they've had those 2 consecutive 1-1 draws as well. So do you fancy all of that put together to suggest a Bolton play? Aston Villa, can they keep Brentford to a single goal? Are Brentford going to be improving under this new manager? Keith Andrews, is it? Have a quick look. I don't know him. I made a swift judgment based on the mauling Brentford got in their opening match, but could be 2-0 up. So a warning sign for Aston Villa. I think it is Keith Andrews. K. Andrews from Ireland. I don't know the strength of this Brentford side. That's the problem. Ollie Watkins up front. Nothing much really, as Bosun says, to back him up, is there? It looks very quiet up front. Anyone on the sub bench where they got to Bogard? I don't know the forward line there, but quite right. Looks a bit lightweight up front, doesn't it? But Tielemans has looked very lively. Looks a very good quality player. Really caught the eye. Along with that new Man City signing, Gyökeres, is it? Absolutely superb. So just waiting for the second half to begin. And I'll call it a day at 4:45 today. Mallorca, Celta Vigo. Great to see Spanish La Liga with us. Guimarães, I would keep an eye on Guimarães. Probably the 5th best, well, 6th best team in Portugal. And when you consider Porto, Benfica and Sporting Lisbon are 3 of them, that's not a bad accolade to have. Got French Ligue 1, Paris FC. This is a must-win already for Marseille. Yeah, 1-3. I was hoping they were going to say 2-3, but no. It's a must-win for Marseille already, having lost their opening match. You cannot lose your opening home match of the season, having lost your opening match of the season away at Rennes. Considering they were second last season, this is already an absolute calamity. There would be rioting in Marseille if they do not win this one. So watch out, particularly if it's a nervy 0-0 late on. It's must-win territory this early for Marseille. Paris Saint-Germain are going to win the league, obviously, but it's all about those European Champions League places. Marseille next best in that league. Frankfurt 4-1 up. So Werder Bremen might be vulnerable when playing against 1.6 favourites or thereabouts. That seems to be the first pattern to note. We'll get rid of a few of these as they're coming in. There's the Bournemouth. Might as well get the Premier League shortlisted. These sides are so good that they could suddenly turn on a coin. Get rid of some of these lower tiers. Poor old Forest Green working their way downwards. Accrington against Grimsby. So I'm not going to be going too mental with English League 1, English League 2. As you know, it's been a graveyard for shock results. But look at that, Colchester Barrow might get some interest second half. That continues. Home favourite with 10 shots off target. 33 dangerous attacks to 8. Watch out for Dordrecht if you fancy first half, or you're going to leave it because it's the Eerste Divisie. So it's looking okay. We could have done with that Freiburg second. Can we trust this 1.48 favourite? Just want to show you the value that you would get. It's costing you nothing to cover the 0-1. In-play stats are suggesting the odds are accurate, aren't they? The only negative will be the league being a shock league. Going straight into the match odds, you'll be getting at least odds on about that and laying at 3.05. So you can see one shot on 7 off 5 corners, 18 attacks to 6, 3 times as many. 1.48 pre-match home favourite. We're putting it all together. Is that value enough on that basis? I didn't get that lay-in of Young. There we go. Young PSV, get that lay-in. And you can see it'll be a shorter loss on the draw. 37 on Dordrecht. If you fancied it, if you can trust the league type. You can see the stats tempting me in like that. And it's liquid enough, even though there's only 6,000 matches. You can see there's enough liquidity for us to have a little tinkle. 20 minutes to go. What a pity Stuttgart couldn't make that 100 plus momentum count, because we could have done with that goal. Similarly timed to the Freiburg goal, just to give the market a chance to get going, because it's only going to be a goal deficit if they can score early enough, Stuttgart. They seem to have gone off the boil, particularly with the shots on target. Last one on the 50th minute. As you know, I'm a big fan of Ten Hag's. I do run the Ten Hag Thailand Appreciation Society. So I know a lot about him, but I won't be trusting him today. What a pity I didn't target that one. Just waiting for the Premier League to begin. Wolves, little to learn, really, from their Manchester City defeat. It was expected, wasn't it? Nothing much else to add. And Bournemouth scoring 2 goals against Liverpool is notable, but then everyone's scoring 2 goals against Liverpool at the moment. Nothing much to add, just the one match in it. Well, that's the problem of trusting last season's stats. I did tell you it was a very speculative one. But certainly, it's near enough to half-time. If you didn't want to play at 0-1, you're certainly going to get better odds at 0-2. So I should be a little bit more disciplined. You can't really trust last season's stats, can you? Yes, it worked well last, but doesn't mean it's going to work well this. We might have different personnel. What I tend to do in a case like this, because it's so early still, we're looking for the 1-2 now, would be to lay Motherwell, £5 fixed liability, and back Hearts, £5. That way, if we get a 1-2 nice and quick, that's going to be reduced to a tolerable loss amount. Certainly the best entry point is at the 0-2s, isn't it? Particularly anywhere near half time. So laying at 1.22, backing at 22s without insurance, costs you nothing. And there's an opening goal for Sparta Rotterdam. We know how decent Go Ahead Eagles are. So that could be an angle in. I hope I'm following this one. I liked what I've seen from Go Ahead Eagles this season. They have been excellent. Particularly against the big boys, PSV Eindhoven in the Johan Cruyff Cup, and then against Ajax as well. I think it was Ajax. I can't get their matches up here. But it's a match I'm following, so I might have a tinkle with it. It would, again, fall under speculative territory, this one. But they were 1.95 pre-match. We know they've got goals in them. So that could offer us something. And they're on the odds-on favourite list. There they are there. Sorry, thought I ticked the wrong one. Let's bring that one up again. Go Ahead Eagles. And Sparta Rotterdam. So check the goal first as well. Is it a penalty? No, it's okay. Pel Clement. They had one disallowed for offside as well. So 2 shots on, 2 shots off, and 2 corners is a good stuff from Go Ahead. How have they been getting on this season? A couple of 2-2s, as I said. PSV open the scoring. I think open the scoring against Ajax as well, and a 2-2 against Sittard. So against better teams than Sparta Rotterdam, they're scoring 2 goals. So there is a possibility, but a great result against Utrecht for Sparta Rotterdam. Not quite as per expectation, that one, and an absolute drubbing by PSV. So if you look at the tightness of the PSV results, I know that was the cup, but are you tempted in for a known goal side like Go Ahead Eagles? It could be a good one to practice or try out a neutral strategy. Over 2.5 goal, likely to be a bit skinny with one already in the bag. Indeed. So what is the timing of the match? You can have a look at the half-time market maybe. No, 7 minutes to go to half-time. So that wouldn't be worth it. So you'd have to go the one up from the one that you want in order to find the value. If we can get an equaliser, that's 2 out of the 4 goals already in the bag. If we can get a winner, that's 3. But it's all about when the goal is scored when you're trading this market. That's my problem, why I don't trade it. It's all about when the goal is scored. You can have a look at whether you'd have got decent odds, for example, using this as a 2.5 goal market. What was the opening gambit here? 1.75, 1.68, something like that. By delaying 10-15 minutes, you're getting up to 2.25, or realistically, and then when you get the goal, you're out. So that's how I would prefer trading 2.5 goals. It would be the in out before half time, not waiting for that second goal. Does that make sense? I don't like trying to rely on 2+ goals to bring you the profits. Just that single goal would help me out massively. Red card for Wolves should end that match. And there's a Burnley-Sunderland goal. I'm eyeing that 0-0 late on because it's a must-win for both teams. And now we're going to see whether the Black Cats were as good as they were against West Ham. Was that a fluke? And got a goal in an odds-on favourite match. Peterborough and Bradford. One of these two is an odds-on favourite. So let's have a look at Peterborough and Bradford. My odds-on favourite list. Working our way down. So it's the pre-match odds-on favourite, or they were touching it when I clicked the button. Have scored first, so that's not a great surprise. Now Stockport County are redded. No great interest there, but Bolton, still 54 minutes is early enough in the match if they have anything in them, but no shots on target yet. That should be a goal. There's a Celtic goal second half. No value to lay the draw second half. It's one of those you can just leave unless you wanted to play correct score win to nil. But sandwiched between a ridiculous performance against Kera Almaty, I can let that one go, to be honest. Celtic. No, thank you. Let's have a look through our odds-ons. Do we still have any 0-0s remaining? Poulsen, 12 minutes in at 1.27. You can also do this for checking goals before half-time, 1.3s and lower. You're expecting at least a goal before half-time. Not all the time, but they come in enough to produce a profit throughout a season. You're waiting to see whether Aston Villa come alive. Burnley and Sunderland. Wait to see whether we're going to get a reaction from Sunderland. These two must win. They must beat a likely relegation rival. 0-0s. Only Southampton and Stoke remain. We've got this tied up here. Southampton must do something. They are late goal scorers, so might reward the person delaying there. And that Southampton match. Where we go? Down more odds-ons. Huddersfield and Stevenage is the only odds-ons left in English League One. Let's see if I've got this match covered. Huddersfield and Stevenage in English League One. So let me just see. Just to see whether they're pressurising. There we go. Pressurising enough to lay that draw. Because we've got an odds on, and you tend to see those draws dropping, don't you? Or those 0-0s at half-time dropping. So we can get rid of Celtic now, I think. They didn't perform last week, did they? Or against K-Rat with the goals before half-time and the expected goals as well. They might do so today. You might be getting a 3-0 today from them. Nothing much doing there at the moment. So let's just keep an eye on our stats. Stuttgart, what a pity they couldn't make it count at 100 plus. 12 shots off target, 13 off target, 10 corners. They will be bitterly disappointed here. It's been all Stuttgart. And they've got nothing to show for it. Only the one shot second half tells you the story of that match. What a pity Freiburg couldn't follow up to make that 2-3 before the 75th minute mark. We live in hope of a 2-3 before the 85th minute mark. That will give us a nice bit of 5 minutes left and extra time to hopefully bring it in. That would be excellent. So we will be alerted to this one. I'm not going to be playing Den Haag. Stick that one in your notebook. Those fans are not happy at all. Injuries, you can be blaming the injuries, of course. Never yourself. And I think this will be match over now. Bournemouth and Wolves. Kilmarnock and Dundee. Kilmarnock priced to do something today, but nothing showing just yet. Second half. Huddersfield is one of the only 0-0s remaining in the lower tiers for an odds-on favourite. We're going to see enough pressure at some point to lay that 0-0. And next time I'll show you possibility of taking these 0-0s on second half with insurance. And if you get a concerted 0-0 second half, you've got a really good chance of a big profit. Look at Aston Villa coming alive. One shot on, 7 off and 8 corners. We do know they got those second half goals in the bag. Are you willing to go in if you didn't go in with me earlier on? And we were nearly punished earlier on. Bolton are coming alive, but still no shot on target. Bolton and Lincoln. No shot on target. I might. It's risky. This is the insurance version. You could just go match odds. No, the insurance version. This is risky because this is going to cost you 20 quid just in insurance. Playing over 1.5 goals. Bolton +1. Hopefully you're looking at 2.5, 2.7, something like that. 2.3. I was hoping for a bit more. So I'm looking for that Bolton pressure to continue, but they've had no shots on target at all. So if this was to be left, it would be a £30 green. But it's a big way down, isn't it? £60 liability. Hearts and Motherwell. Well, do you trust Hearts? Not really an official play, but a look at last season's pattern. See whether it would continue. You see Bolton are knocking on that door, but no shots on target is the problem. Aston Villa and Brentford, again, knocking on the door. This is all I have to work with at this stage of the season. So you can see I have to trust these stats. I've got nothing else to work off. And then I have to decide whether to play or not, because we've got no form lines. So this is a kind of decision. That's why I've been very picky. And it's paid off, really, in these past few weeks. You can see now lighting up the attacking pressure index, Bolton and Aston Villa. Burnley, surprisingly so. And Hearts, if you wanted that late of Motherwell. No, maybe not. 0-3. So you can put that pattern to bed, maybe. Not to be trusted. First day or first days of the season, market getting Hearts woefully wrong, but still early enough for those of you who wanted a 0-3 throwaway play. For a side with 35 attacks. So Southampton and Stoke was the last Premier League 0-0, wasn't it? And we've got the odds-on favourite cocking things up. This is going to be real squeaky bum time. They got out of jail, and we've got the goals popping in our odds-on favourite. And that was a must-win. And we got a nice equaliser for Bolton. If you followed me in there, phew, nice and quick. Olympique Marseille have to win today. So great to see that Bolton one. Just wait for it to look like it might not have been playing. Now we're going to have to see whether Southampton are up for it. They have been awful. Well, we'll have to wait and see that Bolton match. We've got a goal back for Stuttgart, but too much or too little too late. Unless we get some Fergie time. Bolton +1, I don't think, I think that goal is disallowed. But it's a good shot across the bow if you wanted to follow me in there. It is a risky one. What a pity this goal has come so late. But it has knocked half of your liability off. If you wanted to get out with half liability loss rather than full liability loss, that single goal has helped. But it's set up now nicely because we know Stuttgart have been the attacking force in this match. We know that the odds-on favourites. We know they're the better attacking stats. The only problem they don't have is time. The problem they do have is a lack of time. Bolton, as you can see, knocking on that door, old not lob. And Aston Villa clicking that 100 attacking pressure index. So I'll just pass this on to Telegram. If you're at the live stream, you'll know these Bolton knocking on the door of an equaliser, just had a goal disallowed. And Aston Villa could equalise against Brentford, but it is the Premier League. You've already had a shock result with, who was it? Tottenham earlier on. New manager for Brentford as well could surprise, but it's 100 attacking pressure index for Villa. They did have a habit of 2+ goals away from home last season. Unai Emery is a wily old character. Is he too wily for the new Brentford manager Andrews, who is a set-piece coach? 1 shot on 9 off 8 corners for Villa. Do you fancy that equaliser against Brentford? So you can see what I see, can't you? That's how I make my decisions. Colchester and Barrow as well. Good secondary stats from Colchester is why I had that one shortlisted. Cheltenham and Barnet, one of the remaining 0-0s. And it's squeaky bum time for Wrexham. The goal back for Sheffield Wednesday. Could be a good technique this season. Lay a Wrexham 2-0 lead. I don't think they'll be doing many clean sheet wins in this better league. Just makes sense. Yes, we've got a goal back from Hearts. Wish I got involved at 1-2 because that would have been rather... Sorry, get involved at 0-3. That would have been rather juicy, wouldn't it? So let's have a look at Hearts. Yeah, I didn't get involved at 0-3 at even shorter odds. You could average down again. Maybe not a fiver, but you can see the damage that you can do. This would lay at 0-3 would have been 106, 105, 104, wouldn't it? That would have been very juicy. You put a fiver liability on that. And Hearts, this would have been triple figures, wouldn't it? Up to hundreds. Now you're averaging. You don't have liquidity enough, though, for Hearts. But you can see the value. It will reduce your liability. If this was 0-2 to 1-2, that would have been negated pretty much. You'd have had about a £5 or £6 loss. So that's the averaging. But of course, neutral if you don't want to risk at this season. You could have said to yourself, I think Hearts might win this. I might go over 3.5 goals. That might be the neutral play. Didn't I do that in one of these matches? Not sure it was this one. So a flurry of goals coming in. I think we can say ta-ra to that. Didn't come early enough, unless they get severe at Fergie time. I don't expect much from Ten Hag's Leverkusen this season. What an awful start. You have been warned. Kilmarnock and Dundee, still no second half show. 15 minutes into the second half from either of these two. Just whether Hearts have the time to score a second and then a third. That would be most excellent adventure. Huddersfield and Stevenage, one of the odds-on favourite 0-0s. Still remaining. They haven't been adding to these shots on target and off target, have they? That's the importance of doing just a 5-minute sweep. It'll put these to bed. You can see Bolton are still having a go, even in the last 5 minutes. That's positive. Aston Villa having a go in the last 5 minutes. So that puts this strong pressure here into a good context. It's very, very recent. So let's work our way down. Let's go all stats. Dordrecht, it's up to you if you want to play second half. You've got to cover that 0-1, but please, it's a lower tier league. Go ahead, Eagles. I'm very, very tempted. Second half with them. Just on those 2 consecutive 2-2s. But they're not rock solid favourite. I think we'll get rid of Marseille. It's a must win. They'll be hung, drawn and quartered if they do not win at home today. You can still see Bolton and Villa both knocking on the door momentum-wise, but has that time passed for them to have taken that momentum and turned it into a goal? We're going to have to wait now on that. Red Bull Salzburg, perennial odds-on favourites, scoring first against Lastriens. They're another one of those reliables. They had a bit of a hiccup last season with the new form Champions League, but they're up and running. And then Huddersfield and Stevenage. So this is just to give you an idea of these nil-nils at half-time and how effective it is for this nil-nil list, half-time list. How to see them coming in second half. It could be a season-long strategy for you to use, couldn't it? And there's that 2-0 for Marseille. They have to win. They've got to make sure of that, otherwise they're not getting home. That's for sure. Both teams to score and over 2.5 goals in every single Bundesliga match today, with an odds-on favourite in it. That is quite something. And we're on the cusp of that Stuttgart 2-2. Wouldn't that be a wonderful signing off? Freiburg we're probably not expecting. But we were there or thereabouts. We were with the right team. Certainly watch out for Stuttgart's attacking momentum next time if they can keep clean sheets. And well done to Den Haag, earning his 6-figure a week salary there. Fantastic managerial display. Superb stuff. Sheffield United are warming up on the 70th minute mark, but they have had an awful start to the season. Can they be trusted? You can see they're starting to warm up the blades. Are they bringing Sean Penn on? 2 shots, Sean Bean, not Sean Penn. 2 shots on target second half. 4 shots off target second half out of 7. 3 corners out of 5 second half. So they have dominated the second half. 1 shot on target, only the 2 out of 10 for Millwall. So it has been a second half belonging to the Blades. Do you trust them enough? They have been very, very untrustworthy. That 1-4 against Bristol City really rankled with me. That's not what you expect, is it? So if you wanted to play, you can just go naked, so to speak, here. Or you could take a big risk laying over. 1.5 goals going to cost you 30 quid. And then going Sheffield United +1. Full of absolute dangers. So watch out. 2.92, you're going to get very well rewarded if they equalise. But if Millwall make it 0-2, as they could do, what is a very competitive league. But it has been all second half for the Blades. They haven't had a win yet this season. This is becoming must-win territory for them. Got another goal coming in. And happy days are here again. Happy days are here again. Let's have a look. Lovely jubbly. And I hope that's 2-3 Freiburg as well, with 20 minutes of extra time. So that's looking a lot nicer, isn't it? Looking a lot nicer. You've got that 100 quid waiting now on Stuttgart. And what you can do, you can just dot the I's and cross the T's. You do not want to be taking a £14 loss. Okay. So there we go. At the very least, make it break even. This will dot the I's and cross the T's. And now you can just sleep soundly at night and just wait. Oh, well, if that's a Stuttgart win, I will take that all day long. Come on. There we go. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the story. Cash out. You do not want to be taking. It looks like it could be 2-1 rather than 2-2. Rather than 3-2, I think. We've got a goal back for Hearts as well. It's gone to 2-1. What a pity. Perfectly timed Stuttgart goal. Hearts, though, is back to 2-3. For those of you who went in at 0-3, you are absolute geniuses, and I wish I had. We were just unlucky here, weren't we? We know they're the defensive side. I wouldn't be too concerned about them If they're odds on favourite next match, it could deliver. Now, let's just wait for this to settle down in an illiquid market. Maybe we can stick with our trust hearts at odds on, because as a trade, they're doing the job, aren't they? 0-2 down, 0-3 down. Now they're starting to deliver the goals, which deliver the odds movements. But the only thing that doesn't deliver the odds or the profit is the liquidity issue. You're going to have to wait an age for this to sort itself out. That's the only negative there, but warming up very nicely indeed. You got out of Stuttgart for half loss. That's probably a good idea there, Michael. You see, we were with the right team throughout. They just couldn't cross the line with that 2-2 in the end. Look at Kilmarnock with 20 minutes to go, starting to light it up. Are you going to be laying the draw at odds on? Are you going to trust Kilmarnock or Dundee to get a goal before the 20-minute mark? We've got 15 minutes for Hearts to get one more goal in. There's only one goal in it now, so that's a lot nicer, isn't it? But 0-3 was our entry point. You'd have got 106. I'm sure about that. That's a £6 liability for a £100 profit. Kilmarnock warming up nicely. Do you trust them? Another odds on, 0-0 at half time. Is it going to convert? You've seen the Huddersfield match do the same. You've seen the Burnley one convert as well. Watch out for potential late play from Sunderland. But do remember, this is a must win for both of these two sides. They would have been targeting newly promoted as a three-pointer. Bolton are doing everything apart from score. It's very frustrating, particularly if this ends 0-2. Aston Villa, maybe their time is gone. But they are looking like the attack-minded away side of last season. But it is a risk playing the Premier League so early on in the season. You've already seen some results that didn't quite go to expectation. Colchester have been dominant against Barrow without actually doing any scoring. That's Red Bull being Red Bull. That's what we expect of them. That's why they're on the odds-on favourite list. Colchester, well, it's probably a story of the first half. Just a one shot on target. 1, 2, 3 shots off target. And 5 corners. It is League 2, so I wouldn't get too carried away. I would lay at 1.09, something like that. As we move on down, Southampton. Well, do you trust them? While they had the momentum in the second half, they got done. That looks like done on the break. Do you trust them? Odds on favourite pre-match. Got 2 very, very late goals in the first match, which was a win. And they got a draw in their latest against Ipswich. They are 1.8 pre-match favourites. 2 shots on target second half, joined by, Southampton down here. 1 shot on target second half each. Strong pressure with the shots off target. Do you trust Saints today? Come on, the Hearts. You can see now with that averaging, even though I'm getting it wrong, I can reduce my liability now from 50 to 12 if I'm not happy. So don't forget, if you do get this 0-2 down and you've got involved at 0-1, top up. That way, if the goals start flowing, you would be out with a profit here. Or at least out with a tolerable loss. So it's a good little lesson for you that in averaging. If you're still with the team, okay, if you've not abandoned them. We've had a Red Star Belgrade the other day in Europe. Lost 1-2, but we could have got out with a £6 profit at 0-2 to 1-2. So they are there. Celtic starting to score the 3+ goals we expect of them. That's still haunting me there. 2-2. What a pity. Kilmarnock still not added. Come on, the Hearts. One more goal. Or you can get out with that tolerable loss if you averaged up. Bolton doing everything apart from score. Bring on Peter Kay and Amir Khan. That's what we need for the second half. Aston Villa, have they missed the boat? They are the dominant force pretty much throughout the match, to be honest, if the momentum graph is accurate. But you're always at behest of a 2-0, and that could kill off the match. They just don't bring it home when the momentum is there for them. Colchester and Barrow, well, this has gone completely against the look here. I'm not going to be getting involved. Preston as well, 12 shots off target for Ipswich. I think the only reason I've got this one targeted, but no shots on target at all. So that must have been a penalty. Sheffield United, well, you can see they've just gone off the boil again. Something is up at the Blades. I don't know if they're missing key striker, but they're just not doing it, are they, early season? Could get done by that second goal. Not one of the strongest plays of the day. You'll note I didn't pass it on to telegrammers. Southampton and Stoke, well, it's all really first half blood and thunder from the away side. Second half stats are belonging to Saints. You'll probably tell that by looking there. And that red card perhaps changed the complexion of the match. Did I get involved? Surely Southampton could take advantage of this now. Did I get involved? I'm not sure I did. Is there any value to be had now? Has it all been sucked out by the red? Laying over 1.5 goals at 1.64. When you can back Saints at 6.4. Wow. Let's have a laying over 1.5 goals. Covers that 0-1 for Stoke. Southampton did score those late goals. Again, +1 is probably better. But +1 is only about evens. This, if you're willing to take the hit on the insurance and the hit on the draw, you're in for a 3-figure return if the Saints get the win. But you can see that £25 insurance premium. So that would be your maximum loss if you get a draw, £25. If you're willing to take that hit for the chance of 123 profit, or whatever 25 minus this is if it's a late equaliser. Southampton +1 compared to 1.64. There's only a 1.4 profit available there, but that's far more appealing. 15 minutes to go against 10 men for a Premier League side used to scoring late goals. Let's see if we can get something out of this. They do need to get a result. I just wanted to show you their late scoring habit. Did it continue against Ipswich? I think that might have been a first half affair. Indeed it was. So worryingly quiet against Ipswich. This is the match where we're hoping they turn up as they did in this one. 90th for Manning, 96th minute for Stevens. That would be very nice indeed. Yes, they're away from home. Against 10, it's going to be a defence v attack, of course. And there we go. Boom. 0-2 to Stoke. Ouch. Wrexham and Sheffield Wednesday. So that could be something to look at. Any Wrexham lead this season because they are scoring and conceding. They are scoring and conceding, if we can have a look. Yes! So something is working for us. This had all sorts of risks attached. But it shouldn't have had really with the red card. But you've seen far easier to go in without the insurance. But I would have to top up with that red card in play and the 2 late goals we had previously from Southampton. So if we can get this 1-2 for the 80th minute mark, that's going to drop markedly. Let's have a look at Hearts. Now, I'm ruining not getting in that 0-3. Did anyone get in at 0-3? Look at that return there. I'd better take that because this is going to cover. I should really stay in because Hearts have the momentum. But this is going to cover that Southampton loss if it occurs. So I've got to bear that in mind. Okay? But way up the momentum. 3 consecutive goals. £200+ plus. 6 minutes to go. It's going to be tight as to whether they'll get the win or not. But if you did play, you're in for a hell of an adventure. And Bolton are still delivering, aren't they? Apart from the goal. Disappointing. So potential for a late winner from Hearts. And now I'm going to change my mind again. Odds on, great trading team. You've just seen that, haven't you? Superb performance. So that's I've locked my profit in there because of that Southampton loss at the moment. How else do we play these? You could either play them neutrally, going up 2 markets, maybe to over 4.5 goals. Just see what that would be like, because the 3.5 goal market wouldn't have any value in it, would it? Well, it would have. That's going up 2 markets, isn't it, to this one? So that might be some value. Just thinking to using these markets in the future. We don't need to worry about Lillestrøm anymore. So we can get rid of that one. And get rid of some of the red carded matches. Well, Southampton, awful performance. This could change their season in the worst way. Could be the difference between playoff place, couldn't it? An automatic promotion. Well, Bolton have done everything apart from score a goal. Kilmarnock have done nothing, as you can see. They've stayed at 4-6-7 for a very long time. Hearts, though, have been absolutely brilliant if you've followed me in with that one. Those of you clever enough to get involved at 0-3, you'd have backed Hearts at huge odds. Double or triple figure. Southampton have a goal back. Now, this will show you the averaging working. Turns it into a profit. How about that? Turns that panicking £49 loss into a profit. Now I'm going to have to probably cash out. Then I'm in profit now with that 50 odd quid from Hearts. So this is one I'm going to get involved in again. I don't want to risk 50 quid. Okay. So on 2 occasions you've seen the beauty of not panicking if you can keep the trust that they'll get a goal. So let's get that 162. There we go, we're out. That's my personal choice, okay? I'm not happy because that's going to start degrading. Now, what you can do is wait for that £8 to hit 0.00 and then cash out with an effective break even. But I've already got that 50 quid locked in for Hearts, so I might as well enjoy that. I will keep this open for later on because they had 90+ minute winners in their home match, didn't they? So that's the beauty on 2 occasions of the kind of averaging, but you have to take the hit. The hit at 0-2 will be 50 quid. Okay. It will be a once in a blue moon hit because you can do things like this. Get out with that £8 profit. We've got lots of goals coming in, but are they coming in for our odds on favourites? Let's have a look. that's getting a bit annoying. There we go. So let's have a quick look through. How about those 0-0s at half time? Have they all ended? Fascinating, isn't it? Look. How many full-time 0-0s for these odds-ons? Is that something we can go to war with week in, week out? And if they don't come in, can we use a specific staking plan? For example, this one. Can we use a staking plan so that the next time we lay the draw in the next match, perhaps? And we're going to go back from Dordrecht. We're 0-2 down. If you played that one, I think they were 0-1 down when I last looked. So they're making a pig's ear out of this. So 0-2 would have been an ideal entry point there, wouldn't it? I didn't realise they were making an absolute pig's ear out of this. Some late plays. Okay, why don't we have a quick stroll? See whether there's any late action on the momentum, like we're seeing from Bolton, like we're going to see from Southampton, I would suggest. So this is a good time to look at momentum, particularly for the English leagues coming to an end. We've got another odds-on favourite goal, Peterborough against Bradford. But let's look at momentum late on. Are there any 1-1s? Is there any side a goal down, really at home, pressurising, particularly in League One and League Two? Let's take a look. And the Championship, of course. Birmingham, well, just about getting across the line. West Brom and Pompey. West Brom would have expected a result here today, not necessarily dropping points, but only 2 shots on target. Wrexham and Sheffield Wednesday, that could be one for a late play. And watch out, I think both teams to score is a really strong pattern for Wrexham, and indeed leading and not winning. That's something for Ryan Reynolds' boys for you to be following this season. That could get my eye. That 2-2 looks very, very competitive, doesn't it? Elsewhere, late on, nothing much appeals. We're not seeing any momentum graphs, are we? With a nice upwards tilt like this one. Got a red card for Stockport against Burton Albion. Enough time for Burton? Well, we've got 7 minutes. That will get on the shortlist. Red card is in play. Got another odds-on favourite goal come in. Wickham against Reading is 2-2, so I've missed all the fun with that one. Fleetwood and Oldham. Well, one of them is lighting the momentum, the other is lighting up the shots, and it's 1-1. That could be one to target later on. Notts County and Bromley. So Desmond. Colchester, well, they've done everything apart from score. I think those are the only ones of interest. Oh, Marseille have conceded. You don't want to be a Marseille player not winning that match tonight in the Olympic Stadium. Celtic 3-0, 3-1, any other home. It's up to you if you play these 1.22s. They can do it like Kairat Almaty, end up 0-0. They can do it like St Mirren, end up 1-0 with a late goal, and you'll have egg on your face. Or they can do it like Livingston, where you get a 0-0 at half time and they score 3 second-half goals. So you'd have probably got out of there if you were backing 3-0, 3-1, any other home in all 3 of those matches. You'd have probably got decent odds about that 3-0, put you in a probable break even. But you see the possibilities, goals, short odds equal goals. Oh, Swindon will be disappointed if they drop points to the Shrews. So late on, Kilmarnock do not deserve anything out of this. Hearts deserve a win, or I'd prefer if they didn't, because that'd be me throwing away some 209 quid there. Guaranteed myself £59 green, which I'm delighted with. Burnley and Sunderland. You might want to lay Burnley late on at 1.09 and 1.06, just in case Sunderland have some late bite. But this is crucial. This could be the difference between staying up in the Premier League and going down. Beating your newly promoted rivals. Must beat. Fleetwood and Oldham. Well, it looks manic here. So we'll just see. It looks like it's frozen in 72 for a while. We'll see whether we get any late momentum. Again, if you want to play these League Two as late as possible, 109, 106. Bolton, we've got that 0-1 covered. So there's nothing to worry about. And Burnley have put Sunderland to bed. So we were waiting for 109, 106 in case Sunderland had the late bite, but no. Burnley have guaranteed 3 points. What could be a season saver, literally, for them this season. Wrexham and Sheffield Wednesday. I'll bring that one up because they have been humdingers, these Wrexham matches. We could be going over 3.5 goals in these matches and both teams scoring. This is how I do a 109 and a 106. Well, no, it's have to be 106 straight away. And I'll be straight in with 32 quid, £2 liability at 106. Wait for that to get taken. And then if you get a late goal, we're up and running. Southampton I might go back to as well, given their reputation, but they're still not letting Stoke go. The market thinks there will be an equaliser for the Saints. Sheffield United and Millwall, those of you who did play with insurance. Let's have a look. Sheffield United and Millwall. You'll see the insurance paying out. Now, this is at stage. Paul Dunwoody came up with an excellent idea. Why don't you lock this in? It's as near as damn it to the full amount. You're guaranteed that now. And if you get a late goal, a late equaliser, you will double up your profits. And it's happened on a couple of occasions. So we're going to make a net loss of about 3 or 4 quid for the chance of making 75 plus 36. Now this might be something for us to look at this season, just laying over 0.5 goal, over 1.5 goals after the goal has been scored for an underdog. See how long we can last and then greening up. Liability is always going to be very low. And we see how many times this comes in. Can you imagine? Can we make a profit out of this just laying over 1.5 goals? That's another potential strategy that we can get from what we're already doing. Suspended. Hopefully it's not the end of the match. Probably is though. Or that ding sounds nice. But it's probably the end of the match. Ah, glad I didn't get involved. Now, with that 2-goal habit and the 2 consecutive 2-2s, now's a good time to get involved. I hope you can't hear all that music in the background. There's a big fair just across the road. Lots of drunken Thais having a great time. What am I doing? Rotherham. Rotterdam. If go-ahead Eagles odds are big enough, it's doable enough. Yes. 2 consecutive 2-2s. Yes, please. With half an hour to go. Don't forget, against Ajax and against PSV Eindhoven. So you can see I take this on a match-by-match basis. I've got a degree of confidence here, even though it's late. I'm quite happy to go a little bit more. Try to keep it under a 10 liability if I can. Let's try and go in again. So that's a decent amount on go ahead. Just want to leave a little bit on the draw and be ever mindful of the liability because it's only the first few matches of the season. That for me is a good balance between liability and return. If we can get that 1-2, that will start us moving up nicely. 75th minute for the 1-2 and then the 2-2 anytime between 75 and 90. That would be excellent. They've got an excellent record of 2 consecutive 2-2s against better teams. And they've arrived at last. Peter Kay will be delighted. Not Lob. I've got the goal. Exactly what we were expecting, wasn't it? So if you're going to take anything out of today for these lower tiers, it's the Bolton template and the MK Dons template. In-play stats all aligning, utter dominance throughout the match. Boom. This is the beauty of playing +1. This is pretty much 100% profit. If you'd have gone match odds, you'd be making a loss on the draw, despite calling it right. So that's another nice green to add to a few more of the others. Brilliant stuff from Bolton Wanderers. I hope you played. Motherwell, says Enoch. Has something happened, Enoch? It's 3-3. I hope you played, Enoch. Don't say Motherwell have got the late winner, because Hearts deserve it, that's for sure. 3-3, yeah. So I hope you were on that lay, Enoch, if you know Betfair. Laying Motherwell 0-3 up and 0-2 up. That would have been very nice indeed. So that's me done for today. I'll wish you a good night. Been some really good calls. And I hope to see you again tomorrow. I might be up for a few more this evening because we've got some really big names, haven't we? Atletico Madrid must win, like Marseille must win, lost their opener. Barcelona, local derby, could be layable if leading at 1.25, a bit like Leverkusen. Fenerbahce, in between European club competitions, could be vulnerable. Special one has always been vulnerable pre-Europe, even when he was with Chelsea. So there are a few matches of interest. I'll pass on any plays, but as you can see, tread warily. Thanks very much for coming along. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll look forward to seeing you all again. That's a pity, Enoch. You see the advantage of Betfair over bookmakers. You don't have to get the final result right, Enoch. You can play the odds movements. You might want to try spread betting. That's as near as you can get to what we're doing. Anyway, thanks very much, everyone, for coming along. I'm off now. I'll see members on Telegram for a little bit longer. Do please leave a like if you liked the live stream. And if there's a comment section, leave a comment, please. It does help the algorithm. Thanks very much, everyone. I hope you've made some green today. Don't forget Southampton late on, if they're still playing. Otherwise, it could be a very, very disappointing loss. Yeah, just got to wait for the Saints late on. Have a great day. I'll see members if there is anything on Telegram, and certainly tomorrow again. I've got to remember how to close this now. It's been such a long time. Here we go.